And when we talk about Afghanistan, when we hear Afghanistan, we think war. We think of a country that one would never dream of visiting, let alone living in. But that's not the real Afghanistan. Before the Taliban arrived, this was an open society. Religions lived in harmony in this country. Minorities thrived economically and politically. All of that changed in the 1990s. The Taliban destroyed Afghanistan's social fabric. They hunted minorities and erased their culture. Here's a report on their worst crimes.
Afghanistan's history reads like a war book of imperial ambitions, military blunders, and spirited resistance. But buried below the blood and debris is a different Afghanistan, one that dotted the fabled Silk Route and hosted the 60s hippie trail. It was a melting pot of cultures where religions met and free thought prospered. Then came the Taliban. Under their intolerant rule, Afghanistan suffocated. Minorities were hunted down and killed. Their religious sites were demolished, all in the name of Islamist fundamentalism. One of the worst episodes came in 1998. Frenzied Taliban terrorists captured the city of Mazar-e-Sharif, but the victory wasn't enough. The Sunni Taliban wanted to punish the Shiite Hazara residents of the city. They went from house to house. All able-bodied Hazara men were dragged out and killed, sometimes in front of their families. Later investigations show at least 2,000 people were killed. It was a sign of things to come. The Taliban would go on to kill 15,000 Hazaras, mostly in northern and central Afghanistan. Mass graves in these regions attest to the massacre. In 20 years, nothing has changed. Even today, Taliban terrorists target Hazara neighborhoods. Life was equally precarious for non-Muslims. Hindus, for example, had to wear a yellow badge for identification. Hindu women had to wear headscarves. Such violations forced the community to flee Afghanistan. Their numbers dropped from 220,000 in the 1980s to a few hundred today. The Taliban's vision of Afghanistan was binary. You were either a devout Sunni or an evil infidel. They had their own yardsticks to measure infidelity. One of them was idol worship. Across Afghanistan, you can spot faceless deities and headless Buddhas, all destroyed mercilessly by the Taliban. Their ban on idolatry turned into a cultural genocide. The hatred and intolerance peaked in the spring of 2001. For centuries, the Buddhas of Bamiyan had towered over this valley. They had survived invasions and rebellions, but they could not escape the fateful gaze of the Taliban. On March 2nd in 2001, Taliban terrorists arrived at the site with bombs and rocket launchers. For several days, they trained their guns on these statues. When the dust settled, 2 centuries of Buddhist history had been pulverized. A gaping hole remained where the statues once stood. The Taliban thrives on such graphic destruction. It is the only way they can unsettle the Afghan people. Today, that eerie feeling has returned. Shia Muslims fear they will be targeted again, that their men will be executed and their women sold as slaves. Nothing about the Taliban's actions suggests that they have changed. If anything, they are back with a vengeance. The Afghan minorities realize this. Many of them are mobilizing for the battle ahead. They are fighting for Afghanistan's multicultural soul. Because the Taliban may destroy cultural landmarks, but they cannot destroy memories. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.